2025 is a big year for the Big 12. And one of the interesting debates, and I think one of the most interesting topics, is how good is the Big 12 as a football conference? And we've debated this for a number of years on this show. Obviously, ACC fans want to tell you it's a better football conference. Truly, how important is 2025 for the Big 12? I think it's huge. And you look at some of the change that's happened in this conference, whether it's in Morgantown, whether it is everything that's going on in Lubbock at Texas Tech. A big article today came out on Athlon about the importance of this season for Texas Tech and Joey McGuire. I think this year in this conference is huge, whether it's BYU with the Jake Retzloff story, Utah with the Kyle Whittingham, and bringing in Jason Beck to be the offensive coordinator, and Dampier, and all of the change in this conference that has happened to some really important brands. I think this is a year of definition for the Big 12 in football. I think when you look top to bottom in this league, the new blood that's in this league, whether that be Arizona State, who by any measure in anybody's calculation is the odds-on favorite to be the best team in the Big 12 this year, is crowning Arizona State as the best team in the Big 12. But I think this year is critical. And again, I will tell you the heartbeat of the Big 12 is in the state of Texas. If the Texas schools in this league, and I mainly mean Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, if those schools do not contend to win this conference, Jake, I think it is going to be a very, very long year in the Big 12.
Without a doubt. And I think, with all the things we've talked about this week in terms of NIL and everything going on, you need those brands to win. You need those brands to be relevant. You need those brands to contribute in the college football playoff conversation. And I think that, the Big 12 is much like other conferences in the sense that some schools are getting this big influx of money through their collective, and there seems to be this shift in philosophy happening. You can go read about that with Texas Tech. But the reality is that that's great. You have all this money. And I do think we all know that the expectations at Texas Tech are sky high this year. The reality is, though, when we get down to it, when it's 3rd and 4 and the game's on the line, does Texas Tech convert? Does Texas Tech do what they need to do? Does Baylor do what they need to do? Right? Does Kenny and ASU do what they need to do? Because that's all that matters ultimately. Like we can sit here and, we can talk about like what we think is going to happen, but the reality is this stuff is going to be decided on the football field. And it will be refreshing that Texas Tech should be pretty good this year. Baylor allegedly is better this year. Obviously Utah is allegedly better this year. So I think that there's a lot of things to look forward to in the Big 12. But I think this question of, is 2025 going to be a great year for the Big 12? Is it their year? Is it their time to step up in the CFP? I don't know. I think that you're going to know the answer to that question if they've got 5, 6, 7 schools in teams that are contending for a college football playoff spot come October. You know what I mean? Like if you've got several, 7, 8 win teams at that time of the year, and they're all heading the right direction, and we have no idea who's going to win the Big 12. That's the kind of, makeup and situation that the Big 12 needs to have a great year. So I think it's going to be a good year in the Big 12. Certainly it will be better than last year was, but I don't know that you are yet good enough to go out and win a national championship and make it the year of the Big 12 in 2025. Not sure that that's the case.
Yeah, I think Texas Tech is a huge figure in this conversation because I think they're the best team in the conference. I can't help but believe that BYU is going to take a pretty significant step back without Jake Retzloff. I think when we look at teams like Baylor, I don't hold Baylor in high esteem coming into this season. I am not drinking the 8-ball Kool-Aid like a lot of people are in this league. I happen to believe that TCU is going to have a very good year. I think will hell freeze over if Texas Tech doesn't lose one game. If they lose 4 games, like, are we just burning Texas Tech to the ground? Does Lubbock no longer exist? Is it the new Los Angeles? I mean, that's what it feels like. to burn it to the
Right.
Anyway, the
right.
point is
that was a riot joke.
no, well, I wouldn't make a joke about a riot, but my point is, if Texas Tech doesn't win this league, I actually think it would be an upset based on the hype, based on what Joey's put together there, based on the prognosticators. We can sit here and we can talk about Utah rebounding, or we can sit here and talk about K-State or how good's Iowa State. I am telling you right now, the idea that Texas Tech isn't going to be one of the best teams in this league would be shocking. And I'll say about Baylor, I think Baylor is a 2 or 3 loss team because their schedule is an absolute cakewalk. And I think if this year does not produce a significant uptick in bids to the college football playoff and significantly more revenue as a result, Jake, I think this league, I'm not going to say this league's in trouble, but this league is going to keep falling further and further behind.
Certainly. And I think, when you consider the fact that if you're not basically converting on the investment that your collective is making into the team, and you're not returning the favor with wins, that's always a problem, and so would it be an upset if Tech didn't win the conference?
Ooh.
I mean, I think we need to see what the makeup of everyone else besides Tech is. I mean, I think it's, we just need to be careful with that. But Texas Tech should absolutely be in the conversation to win the conference. I would agree with that. And I think for the Big 12, it's just a matter of what are you going to do different this year? Who's going to be the surprise team? Because Arizona State's not a surprise anymore, right? And Colorado allegedly is going to take some big ass step backward if you listen to all the haters. But what is Colorado going to be? Where is TCU at? Obviously you've got a good offense and Josh Hoover's your guy, but where's the defense at? Can you stop anybody? Because you couldn't last year. And I'm not hearing the same, just ringing endorsement of massive NIL spending, in Fort Worth that we are in Lubbock. So I don't know, we'll just have to see. But I do think that the Big 12 needs to find a way to break through in the CFP. There has to be some type of way to get
certain types of way.
If they could find a certain type of way to get 3 teams into the college football playoff, that would be a huge step forward.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
Well, ESPN put out their future power rankings yesterday, and they value teams based on returning quarterback, likelihood of a multi-year QB on roster, offensive line, defensive line, roster management, star power, and coaching staff. The 68th worst team in the P4, Stanford. So Stanford, that's the bar. Stanford's, by ESPN's power ranking, Stanford is the worst team in the P4. West Virginia, though, is 66th. That's not good, right? Even with Rich Rod back. You look at 65, the UCF Knights. That's not good. Okay, but now 64 is going to be somebody other than the Big 12, right? Wrong. That at number 64, that'd be Arizona. You start looking and you're like, okay, well, let's get into the 50s to find another. No, you don't have to go very far. 62nd, Oklahoma State. Of which, and I think this is really important. ESPN says Mike Gundy is still there, but stands on the thinnest ice entering his 21st season, leading his alma mater.
I'm a man.
Oklahoma State has a new group of position coaches, and that includes Kevin Johns, a former offensive coordinator, working with quarterbacks. So they don't think, and I know Horny James wants to come in and tell you they got the best coaches anybody's ever seen on that staff. And Hoss Henge is just,
stay hard.
He's the next Preston Stone.
Dude, clean cut.
Right? But you look at this and you say to yourself, how does ESPN feel about Oklahoma's quarterbacks? Oklahoma State went through a full reset on offense and will enter the fall with 2 mostly unproven quarterbacks.
Ain't no reset.
Including Hoss Henge and Zane Flores competing for the job.
Bro, are you serious?
Likelihood of multi-year quarterbacks. Not likely, because a lot depends on 2025. But Oak State had an unbelievable portal. And Oak State brought in the best.
Monty.
We only hire the best people at Oak State.
Bro. Dude.
What's up, big bro?
But then 57 is Cincinnati.
And their new football facility.
Listen to all of these Big 12 teams that are so far down the rung. I don't like, you have Kansas at 50. Kansas is at 50, right? You're behind UCLA and Vanderbilt. You're behind Boston College, Virginia Tech, Pitt at 45, right? North Carolina and Bill Belichick's girlfriend at 44. That to me says that this league doesn't get a lot of respect. And you keep climbing and you ask, oh, well, there's TCU at 38, right? And I'm like, okay, Auburn is at 37. Colorado's at 35. Right? No, Shedeur Sanders produced a record-setting 2-year run at Colorado. However, the former Buff star is now with the Cleveland Browns, who do not have a starting quarterback. Liberty transfer Caden Salter, who led the Flames to an undefeated regular season and a Fiesta Bowl appearance, enters his final year of eligibility. That's a little scary. That is a little scary. That you're behind Duke football. Baylor at 32. Right? Like it's crazy to me that Baylor is 32. You get into the top 30 of the P4, now you feel like you're impressive. Okay, well, there's Utah at 30, who they say after 2 very difficult seasons at quarterback impacted by Cam Rising, Utah moved forward with Devin Dampier, a dynamic dual threat who earned first-team All-Mountain West honors at New Mexico in 2024. So ESPN's very high on Utah, but they have Texas Tech at 29. 29. Are you crazy? If Texas Tech, do you guys believe there are 28 better teams in the country than Texas Tech?
Who are the teams directly ahead of them? According
28,
to this?
Texas A&M. 27, Oklahoma. 26, USC.
I mean,
25, BYU. Jake Retzloff is set to return after starting for BYU's 11-win team last fall, although his status could change depending on the civil lawsuit filed against him by a woman alleging he raped and strangled her in 2023.
No big deal. No big deal. No big deal, bro.
This is troubling. This is what I'm telling you, is that you start looking at some of these teams like Iowa State at 19. You've got K-State at 21. I think that the two things can be true at the same time. I think Big 12 football is going to have a resurgent power year this year. But is ESPN wrong for ranking Big 12 teams mostly in the bottom half of the Power Four?
No,
they're not.
No, and I think the hard part is that like I would love to see Texas Tech be much better this year and for the NIL spending to pay off and turn into wins and all that. But I think it's difficult. Like you have to prove that you can go out and win ball games and that you actually are that good. And that's why I say, like, no, I'm not confident Texas Tech is better than SC right now. They're gonna have to show me that. I'm not confident that they're just all of a sudden better than Auburn, let's say.
But how do you have? And again, I'm just gonna say, okay, so if we've got BYU, what did I say? BYU is 26, I think. If you've got BYU at 25, excuse me, you're telling me BYU is better than USC? Okay. BYU at 25, Texas Tech's at 29. That doesn't, does that math to anybody?
No.
You have a much better quarterback situation at Tech. right, with Baron Morton.
Well, I just think people like clearly this article was written with the idea that Jake has still got the option to play, or that that's still a possibility, and I just don't think it is. But
Maybe
ESPN knows something we don't.
Baron Morton's in his NFL draft year. You would expect him to show up rocked out, right?
Stay hard.
You would expect
Clean
that,
cut.
right? I would expect their defense to be unbelievable. I mean, Terrell Tillman, and I understand that D-line has a lot of transfers on it, but you're just running your face into a lineman all day. That doesn't take a lot of chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be interesting. I think Howard Sampson and Hunter Zambrano, who you guys don't know, he's from Illinois State, which is obviously a small football school, but they're loaded, dude. They are loaded. And you look at Lee Hunter, David Bailey, Romello Height, like you look at all these dudes, they're going to be much better at Texas Tech. And I apologize to our faithful in Provo. Texas Tech's a better football team than you are. I think they're more talented. Let that piss you off.
I mean,
hey, if that pisses you off, I'm here for it, dude. Right? They finished number 2 in the national rankings in the portal. I mean, that is unbelievable. And if Cody Campbell keeps putting out that kind of cash for Tech, they're not going to look back. Look how much money Texas Tech is spending in softball.
Yeah,
for crying out loud.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Cody Campbell's wife played softball, maybe at Tech, if I remember right. So he's got the
Cody Campbell, the super donor at Texas Tech.
Yeah,
but my point is, I look at this and then I go to the top 5 in this ranking. Who's surprised that it's Texas number 1? I'm not.
Nobody.
Who's surprised that you have Ohio State at number 2? Well, I'm not, right? I mean, I look at Julian Sayin. I'm expecting Julian Sayin to be a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is everything that you want. Obviously, he was an Alabama kid who left when Saban left, and he's everything that you want. You look at number 3. I mean, Georgia is everything that you need. And I guess it depends on how you look at Gunnar Stockton and how you look at that offense. And as he developed, is he more ready than he was after Carson Beck melted down his elbow? I guess we'll find out. But dudes, I am telling you now that guys like Micah Morris, Drew Bobo, those guys have to be monsters for Georgia to win. And I'm a little surprised, frankly, that Oregon is 4th. I thought Oregon would be a little further down. But Dante Moore, is Dante Moore ready to be a big-time quarterback at Oregon? He better be.
He better be.
Right, because what is this, his 3rd year? And he's bounced around now from UCLA. Like, you feel like they definitely have to be good. But Dan Lanning's got a hell of a staff. He puts dudes in the NFL, right? And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they do. And then rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, that team sucks.
JC and his pop's favorite team.
Yeah.
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, baby. Let's do this
Notre
thing.
Dame, our mother.
Oh, that's right. We don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, you guys suck.
I think it's going to be CJ Carr.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it?
I think it's going to be CJ Carr, and I think that's going to be a real issue. But you look at Knapp and Jagosa on the offensive line, forget it. We're monsters up there. We're monsters up there.
Yeah, you're going to be able to run the football. The question is how explosive is the passing game?
Well, Malachi Fields and Will Pauling had better be what we need them to be. And Pauling's a stud. He's a transfer from Wisconsin. He's a stud. But Jeremiah Love has got to stay healthy. And I think if he stays healthy, he'll be legitimately, I would think right now, him and Arch Manning are the top 2. Right? I mean, that's who's going to be in New York.
I would guess.
At the very least. But all of this to say, you got to go pretty far down the list to find a team in the in the Big 12 that anybody thinks has an opportunity to win. When Alabama's 10th, and I think Alabama is going to be just fine. Having Ty Simpson step in for Jalen Milroe, and I'm assuming Ty Simpson, because I don't think Austin Mack is going to do that. But looking at Ty Simpson, I would think, but you got to go pretty far down the list of 12 at Arizona State. And I'm telling you, how does Arizona State bounce back without smash face in the backfield? Yeah, I don't know.
It's a great question.
Right. And now all of a sudden, I understand that Sam Leavitt's back. He's got experience. You feel like, hey, this is a kid that should be able to carry Arizona State. But without Cam Scadaboo back there, is there anybody who believes that's not going to be the same football team? Do you believe now that Sam Leavitt, who most people have ranked as the number one quarterback in this league, which I think is a bunch of garbo, but hey, are you really telling me that Sam Leavitt all of a sudden is going to be in position to carry this team, and he's the quarterback that can lead the Big 12 to the college football playoff?
Yeah, people are saying he's got like the best arm in the Big 12, and like all I'm saying is he better have the goods, dude. I'm not saying he's terrible or he sucks or anything like that, but there's a difference between being a mediocre quarterback that was carried by an NFL running back versus hey, you were a run first team with an NFL running back, and now you get to shine now that he's gone. I mean, that's just two different things. So that's what I'm saying. Like, whether it's Texas Tech or Arizona State or whoever you want to point to, the proof ultimately is in the pudding. But I think the Big 12 has a chance to make a splash this year. And I think that you finally have a situation where multiple teams really should be vying to win the conference. That's what we're looking at on paper. So it'd be nice if that panned out.
All right, let's go to the comments section on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks. I would like to point out that when certain mother on this show tell you not to do certain things, you should probably take heed. How'd you do on Prize Picks last night, Jake?
I broke even.
Okay, so you won 2 or 3.
Yeah.
What's the one that lost? Can you refresh my memory? Go ahead and...
it looks like Prize Picks is telling me Haliburton won.
Okay, I didn't say who won. I said, what's the one?
Anita Dickinson.
What's the one that lost?
Looks like Angel Reese the other night lost.
No, last night, Jake.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. It looks like... Oh, yeah. Looks like...
SGA free throws?
Okay, all right, yeah.
I mean, did I not tell you? Did I believe I said to you, if you take SGA free throws, he's going to gape you, right? I believe I said that.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
No, I'm not gonna.
Shut the fuck up,
I'm not going to do it because I told you SGA is not getting to the free throw line.
Hey,
right?
2 holes.
Yeah, I told you that 2 holes. Did I not?
Don't fuck.
I said, don't take him. Oh, free throw getter. No, he's not.
Merchant.
No, he's not.
Come on, man. What is he talking about?
You can only lead the jackass to the pile of crap. You can't make him eat it. Right?
I just try to stand strong.
I'm sure you do. Not everybody's as dominant as I am.
Because I don't want them to see me down.
Right. Which is why, screw you, Alex Caruso.
And it sucks.
I needed Alex Caruso to give me 1 more bucket. 8.5 points. He had 8. Other than that, dominated with... Are we going to play this video? I want it to be clear. I don't want to play this video. I want you guys to know.
Bro, this is 2 minutes of greatness.
This is
bro.
2 minutes and 26 seconds of your life that you can never get back because certain people on this show
I'm here to entertain
like
you
players
guys.
who aren't superstars. They like certain people on this show, like NBA talent, who are not really that talented.
Oklahoma City Thunder, what happened? Someone better get on the phone with the president because the Haliban has fully taken over. You better take cover. You better hide the kids. You better call for backup. The Pacers might fuck around and actually do this thing. The Haliban is strong enough to take out Osama bin Laden. Let's go through some of the most wanted members of the Haliban, starting with number 9. This man is everywhere you don't think he is. He'll ambush you when no one's looking. Always expect the unexpected. This man could be in SEAL Team fucking 6. He's literally everywhere. Send this man into a mission solo. Put him in a foxhole. He'll be in and out like a demon's whisper. Bring this man to war. Look at the heart. Look at the soul. Look at the effort. Who needs the NBA logo to be Jerry West when it could be TJ McConnell? TJ McConnell came from this dude's nutsack. Look right here. He's camping in a bush, pops out of nowhere, kills Caruso. Just like that. If he's doing this while the leader of the Haliban's on the bench, I don't think there's any stopping this team. The second member of the Haliban we go over, a man who goes by the name Benedict Mathurin. Born in 2002, pulled off the unthinkable tonight. I don't know what kind of witchcraft magic the Pacers do pregame, but this kid went for 27 points and only played 5 minutes. They also have 2 snipers who can pick you off when it matters most in Nembhard and Neesmith. And in the biggest possession of the game, Chet Holmgren needs to find a bag and start putting fries in it. I don't know if the Thunder need to call in an airstrike, find a UAV, or just retreat. Either way, the Haliban is taking over fast. If you told me this would be the graphic last night after Game 3, I would say you're out of your mind. Mathurin and McConnell, Pippen and Jordan. This series, do you know Game 3 winners in a 1-1 series in the finals go on to win that series over 80% of the time? The Oklahoma City Thunder were minus 600.
I cannot tell you how excited Jake was. He walked into our office building today. Dude, you got to hear this, bro. Bro, Haliban. Haliban. Came from this guy's balls.
The nomenclature is nutsack.
He came from this guy's nutsack. He was so excited about this. We're playing it on the show. We're playing it on the show.
Bro,
when we do prize picks, we're playing it on the show.
Hilarious.
Zona Tucson, TJ McConnell and Benedict Mathurin, both from former Arizona Wildcats. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So is Book Richardson. I hate the Indiana Pacers, which is why they're going to win, because I'm not allowed to have nice things in sports. Jake's face is the color of his shirt. Salmon is back.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Is the narrating the video related to BDM? Kind of sounds like Will Ferrell doing his Harry Carey bit. So true. So true. How is Haliburton taken over? He didn't take over. He didn't. Benedict Mathurin had 27 points last night. He was their top scorer. No one saw that coming. If Benedict scores more than 20 each game in the series, they'll win it. I agree with that. I agree with that. I do. You know, listen, I don't hate the Haliban. I just can't stand them. And I hope they never win another game or score another point.
Yeah, but you're not an OKC fan.
No, I'm not. That's why the NBA Finals suck.
That's correct.
Did you guys see this? And I know we're trying to do prize picks here, but, you know, did you guys see this? Bro, NBA Finals Game 2, 8.76 million viewers, lowest Game 2 since the 2020 bubble, and the only NBA Finals since 2007 where viewership dropped after Game 1. We watched Game 1, we were like, nah, I'm good. We're not watching this, right? Like it's so bad. And this is the chart that you put up yesterday about viewership trending down. You can't tell me
That's rough, bro.
The Haliban is good for the NBA. You can't tell me Pacers and Thunder is good for the NBA. I don't buy that for a second.
No way.
It just does not make any sense to me. It also doesn't make any sense to me that Prize Picks is bohicaing me by not allowing me to pick Aaron Judge tonight. Is he not on the scorecard? Is he not in the lineup? Like, what sense does that make?
No idea.
That doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right
Let
at
me see
all.
if he's on mine.
I may
over
have to go.
here.
I may have to go Javier Baez with a hit run and an RBI because I mean I don't even know what else you do here. I don't even know what else you do here. I don't think he's playing.
Maybe
I
not.
mean, maybe Adley. Maybe we go Adley Rutschman.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's a little surprising.
Yeah, it is. It is a little surprising. Total bases for all of his stuff is demons tonight. Dude, this is rough tonight in Major League Baseball. There's not a whole lot to choose from. Who's the worst team in baseball tonight? Who are the White Sox playing? The White Sox are playing Houston.
Houston.
The Houstons. I can never take that midget Altuve.
That midget.
I cannot bring myself to do that. Christian Walker's 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I mean, we could do that. Against the White Sox, we could do that. Let's do that. Okay, here are my prize picks for tonight. I've got Jamison Tyone, 5-pitcher strikeouts more against Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah.
PCA. 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs more. Christian Walker, 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs more. $20 to win 110.
Nice.
Prize picks. America's favorite daily fantasy app. Jake can't screw him up tonight because the Haliban is off.
Right.
Which thankfully for you, the Haliban is off because you and I both know you'd be like, oh, SGA free throws, bros. He's a machine. Isn't that what you'd be saying?
It would be, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. What do you got on prize picks tonight?
I'm trying to find my third one. Right now, I'm taking Will Warren of the Yankees to have more than 5.5 strikeouts against the Royals. The Royals. PCA for more than 1.5 total bases. And trying to find...
Is prize picks down right now?
Google real quick. Is prize picks Google Cloud based?
No. Lineup submitted. Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right. I'm just checking, bro.
Close.
Just